Hi BookTube, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, we've had a little hiatus. I am back, it's 2025, it's a new year. Let's talk about everything that I've learned on my first year on BookTok, because it is officially my 1 year anniversary tomorrow. For clarity, I started TikTok in itself back in 2020. This is my main channel, my main page, my full-time job. It's actually what I do for a living. Think of that what you will, but trust me, I pay a considerable amount of tax. I fell into the realms of BookTok last year, and on the 5th of January 2024 I posted my first video, and now we are here. I took an old business page that hadn't been used for a very long time, thinking that everybody would unfollow it, and actually it just gained more and more followers and more traction. Here is what I learned on my first year as a BookToker, which I need to be very clear. I am not here to bash BookTok. I am not here to run BookTok into the ground, but I am here to talk about all of my experience, everything I've learned, everything that I have experienced, navigated my way through on that platform as a BookToker and also as a TikToker in general. But I think the most important thing to note is actually there are some very strong negative things to talk about that I've experienced, and I want to spend some time dissecting them. I consume most of my content now on YouTube. I no longer really consume any content on TikTok, whether that's book content, lifestyle, whatever. And the reason for that is because I love a yap and I love a deep dive. However, one thing that I see a lot on YouTube is this kind of diss of BookTok, people taking other people's content from BookTok and almost using it like a parody, and I'm not here to do that. I suppose this is almost like my application to YouTube, BookTube at this point, because we know there's about to be a massive shift. We know that the US is about to lose TikTok access, potentially, most probably, most likely, and I don't necessarily think that's a negative thing, if I am 100% honest, and here's why. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't like it to happen in the UK. I would quite literally lose my job, but I think some of the traits that we're picking up aren't coherently positive. So buckle up, grab a cup of tea, because we're going to have a nosy. I'm going to talk, I'm going to be upfront, I'm going to be honest. That's what I do, that's who I am, and that's one thing that I'm losing the ability to do on that godforsaken app. I need to be really honest, these are all my opinions, and they're based on my opinion, my experiences, situations that I've been through, and nothing more than that. And not everybody's going to have the same opinions, not everybody's going to have the same experience. And I'm not here to invalidate anybody else's, but I'm also not here to have anybody else invalidate mine. Also, if you just noticed, I have lipstick on my teeth. Thanks for telling me. As I said, this is going to be a amalgamation of positive and negative. It's probably going to sound like there's a lot more negative that I have to say than I do positive, but do you know what? So what? The positives are very, very strong, but the negatives are equally very, very strong. Now let's start off with me personally and my personal journey. I only fell into BookTok because I lost my granddad. He was my biggest reading influence in the world. I lost him in November 23. I had been a reader my whole life, and even though I was a TikToker, even though it was my job, even though I have a very large following, people didn't really know I was a reader. I didn't share that part of me. And then when I lost him and I took some time off of work and I went a bit quiet and I read more and more and more just to numb my brain, I shared one video about books. People were like, oh, you should have an actual book page. And I was like, well, hey, I've got this business page. Why don't I use it? Why don't I have somewhere I can escape? Because at that point, TikTok in itself wasn't feeling like a nice place for me to be. And I discovered BookTok, discovered there was an entire community group, whatever you want to call it, of people, and was like, this is cool, I love this, fell into it and started posting, and then it just became this daily thing. And it's never been about work for me, it's never been about the financial side, which obviously my main page has become, because that's what pays my bills now. It was more my escape, my safe space, somewhere I could go to just talk. I didn't have anywhere near the volume of followers on that page that I had on my main page, which meant I was a little bit almost less, not known, I don't really know what the right term would be on that one, but it meant that I could just step away and just be Grace for a minute, rather than somebody that was a content creator or an influencer, however you want to word it. And that was beautiful. I absolutely loved, thrived, enjoyed that step back, that break. Over time, I've lost the ability to enjoy that less and less and less. It's still not about the financials. It never will be, I don't think. I don't think there's enough money in it for it to be about the financials for me. BookTok over, I think, the last maybe 12 months has garnered more and more negativity and attitudes. I found myself, and I've seen so many other creators, having to back up that reading is subjective. If all we're seeing is positivity all the time, then that's not quite real, is it? It's just become a highlight. So if I put out a negative review, I feel like I have to back it up and be like, well, if you love this book, it's okay. Reading is subjective. You're allowed to dislike this book. We're all at the point where we are, I think some of us are sitting on eggshells. I know I am. I know I'm sitting there, and I'm now hesitant about what I post, how I post. I read quite a lot of older books that are written in like the 50s, 60s. And I'm a gay woman. I'm married to a woman. I'm a lesbian. And sometimes I will do a review about a book that's got ableist writing or homophobic writing or a touch of racist writing, because it's a product of its time, and I'm nervous to talk about those books and those things. But actually, I have to understand it is a product of its time, and it's actually a really good book and I really enjoyed it. I made a really silly, simple video the other day. I'm not going to bring up what it was about, but it was just something that I enjoy using, something I enjoy doing. And then within minutes, I'm being told how that particular thing is being cancelled because this has happened and da-da-da-da. And it, before I knew it, it had spun. And I just thought, for me, something that was lighthearted, I didn't know there was any discourse about it, didn't realise that existed. But I'm hounded to the point where I removed the video, and now I'm sitting here like, well, what can we talk about? Because if I post a negative review, people don't like that. If I post a positive review, people don't like that. If I post something that I get benefit from or I enjoy, people don't like that. And this is meant to be a community where it's one of the most accepting, one of the most diverse, one of the most inclusive. And I think it's losing that a little bit. And I'm going to talk through why. And if you don't agree with what I say, that's absolutely fine. I would love to open up a discussion in the comments about what you think, what you've taken from BookTok, what you've taken from BookTube, what you've taken from Bookstagram and social media in general, and how you think it's affecting our day-to-day lives and all of those things. But let's get a bit meaty. I'm scared. I'm so hoping that YouTube is a nicer environment than TikTok, because I don't want to be eaten alive. I actually think the first major thing that is becoming a problem and has got worse and worse and worse over the last 12 months is the speed of discourse. Discourse is fine. Discourse is always going to happen. It's almost like a human thing to have disagreements, thoughts, opinions, da da da. But please, can we do our research? Because what I'm seeing, if something has happened, somebody said something, there's been an error somewhere, a company's made a mistake, it is such massive herd mentality at this point. Next to nobody is coming in with their own research, their own facts, their own thoughts, their own opinions. What they're doing is they're jumping and being reactive to a singular sentence or a quick video or something that they've heard very, very quickly, and then they've almost twisted it to fit their own narrative so that they can post about it, because they know that post is going to get them views, comments, shares, followers, potentially money if they're in the creator fund. And that is spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. And it's as if people are losing their ability to just formulate their own opinion on situations, on negative things. And everyone is so perfect. I've never known anything like it. The level of perfection that people seem to have now, it's almost as if basic human error is one of our biggest flaws. We're not allowed to make errors anymore. We're not allowed to make mistakes. And if we do make a singular mistake, then believe me, that is going to be pointed out. That is going to be dragged through the mud. And before you know it, you could have hundreds, if not thousands of people commenting, sharing, making videos about something that actually is a mistake, is small, or not even sometimes small, but something that is not deliberate. It's just happened, and there's no empathy, there's no understanding, there's no willingness to let people come back into the community. There's no acceptance towards an apology or we understand this shouldn't have happened and it happened like this. However, if you try and acknowledge what's happened, you're still going to get cancelled. It's still over for you. And this is coming massively over into BookTok at this point, which you'd like to think that a reader would have more empathy, would have the ability to be rational, to display some critical thinking skills. And it feels like that's not happening. Instead, it's just this mass cancel culture to the point where we're cancelling companies, we're cancelling creators, we're cancelling authors, we're cancelling books, we're cancelling genres. Like, it's wild, it's crazy. And sometimes people don't even have their own narrative on it. They are just snowballing somebody else's narrative. And I'm the kind of person that I like to think of myself as a bit of a logical thinker. I like to think of myself as somebody that will see something online, see something on social media, step away, do a bit of research on it, take my time to try and understand what's happened, what's this subject about, read a few different varying things so that I can formulate my own opinion, and then come back and be comfortable to speak about it. But people are speaking before they've even done that. And that I actually think is incredibly dangerous. And I do believe it leans in to the fact that our attention spans have got so short, so reduced, that they are literally just taking snippets of information and nuggets and making this entire story, because your attention is not able to go and actually decipher what has happened, what's going on. Why do we dislike this book now? Why do we dislike this author? And actually, the discourse on authors is getting harder and harder to keep up with. It started with Sarah J. Maas, J.K. Rowling. It's now moved on to... The other day I saw Kristin Hannah. I have no idea what she's done, but I know that The Nightingale is an absolutely incredibly mind-blowing, almost work of art piece of literature. I don't understand, and I think it's now deeper than separating the art from the artist. I think it's gone beyond that, and I think it's now at the point where some people on social media, on places like TikTok, Bookstagram, are just looking for any excuse to create discourse, create a problem, create a drama, because let's face it, negativity breeds attention. And that is such a fundamental flaw and problem on that app. And I know that's quite a strong way to start, but it's the one thing that I'm noticing the most, because I'm now finding myself as a creator. When I first started, I didn't care what I posted about. I didn't care if I came on and was like, I like Fourth Wing, I'm enjoying the dragons in Fourth Wing, or I don't ever want to read ACOTAR, or I don't ever intend to pick up Harry Potter again in my life. Like, I didn't care what I spoke about. I didn't care the context of what I was speaking about, beyond the point that it was my subjective experience with that book. And now I don't feel half as comfortable to do that. Now I don't feel like I can do that, because there's a complete lack of research, because the speed of discourse is absolutely huge, and because everybody seems to be perfect, to the point where even on our main TikTok page the other day, I posted a 4-year-old video as a memory of the day, and I reposted it, and it went viral. We're talking like 12 million views viral, and it had a spelling mistake in there. I used the wrong version of there, and I got picked apart in the comments for that, to the point where then people started to almost become more brutal. It went beyond the spelling, it went to derogatory comments about my wife and my marriage, and it just snowballed. And I just sat back and I was like, are we all flawless? Are you all flawless now? Like, does nobody at this point make mistakes? Because if there's one thing I make a mistake on all the time, it's the correct use of there. I do it a lot because I'm human. And everybody seems to pick fault with human actions, which BookTok is the last place I would have wanted to see that happen, but unfortunately it is. I think leading into that, one thing that I've really noticed happening is there's a lot of self-righteous attitudes. There's a lot of reactiveness, and I think bookish people, readers, like to presume that they're not reactive, that they're calm and they're empathetic and they're understanding and they're diverse, they're inclusive. No, we're becoming reactive, and everything is becoming an educational lesson. Every single mistake or disagreement is becoming a reason to educate somebody, a reason to be reactive, rather than just saying, cool, that was their opinion, that's their thought, that's their feeling, that's fully allowed, this is mine, we don't agree, but that doesn't mean I don't like you. That doesn't mean I have to dislike you. It just means we don't agree on something. The amount of times somebody has come into my space with a very self-righteous attitude, with an attitude that's telling me that I'm incorrect for something that I've experienced, that I've enjoyed, that I perhaps haven't enjoyed. And when I come in and say, actually, is that warranted? Is that necessary? I'm suddenly the aggressor. I'm the aggressive one. And it's kind of like, no, I don't understand the need for you to input negative energy into my space when I haven't actually asked for that. It wasn't warranted. It's probably one of my biggest frustrations, is this level of like, nobody has any flaws, but yet they're also quick to pick out the flaws of everybody else. And this level of self-righteousness that means you're constantly being taught lessons. We can always be educated. There's always something to learn. We wake up every morning and we learn something new pretty much every day, and that is the joy of being a human. But not everything needs to be a deep educational lesson. Not everything needs to be unpicked, unpacked to the point where it's completely unraveled and you don't even remember what it was in the first place. That is too much. Just let people enjoy what they need to enjoy. Let people have the experience that they've experienced, and stop trying to invalidate them, but also stop trying to pick out every tiny little flaw and hole and thing that they do wrong, especially when it comes to books. Seriously, it's so frustrating and boring. This is a clear example of this. The other day I posted on my main page, I know we're going off piece a little bit with books, but it does happen with books all the time. I posted this video, I was in the gym and someone was like, oh, what leggings do you wear? Cool, normal question, absolutely fine. Gymshark, can you link them? I just looked at it. Do you not have hands? Do you not have a phone that you've just typed that on? I literally replied, all you have to do is go onto the Gymshark website. That's it. With books, the same thing's happening. I can be talking about a book. I can be showing the cover of the book. I've said the author. I have said the title. I'll get a comment. What's the name of the book? It's literally in front of you. Where did you buy the book? Can you link the book? Go on Amazon, go to your library, go to Waterstones. And I know that probably sounds so aggy, but when it's over and over and over again, I have to question, are we losing the ability to think, feel and seek for ourselves? Because when I see something, I might say to somebody, oh, where's your top from? I really like it. Nike. Cool. I'll go on the Nike website and I'll see if I can find it. I'll go on ASOS, see if I can find it. If I can't find it, then I might go back to them and say, I've had a look and I can't find it. Where did you get it from? It feels like people want everything handed to them, spoon-fed to them, silver plattered. I don't have time for that. I don't. I've got 3 children, 3 dogs, 4 cats, a wife, a busy life. Probably thousands of comments to go through a day. I don't have time to spoon feed links And also, you've got to bear in mind that if a creator or an influencer puts up a link, chances are it's going to be an affiliate link. They're going to earn money from that. That's an ad. That's not just posting a link. And sometimes I just don't want to do that. I think some people will be like, you're being a bit petty on this one potentially. And maybe I am. But when it is that many times a day where I've given you the answer, can you link it to me? I can't even post a link on TikTok, for God's sake. It's not a platform you can post a link on. So what do you want me to do? You're literally going to have to copy and paste it. Just go on the website. Am I being petty? I don't think I am. I think it's up there with critical thinking in the sense that, like, as humans, we have a side to us which is always it's almost like a scavenger side. Like, we are ingrained to seek things, to feel things, to think things on our own initiative. And I swear to God, social media is taking that away from us. I swear we are losing that ability to think for ourselves, to navigate for ourselves, and to find where it is we want to be, where it is we want to go, what it is we want to do for ourselves. And that is worrying. It's something that I'm seeing on BookTok as well. It's also with books. So people will reduce a book down to its tropes. And if the tropes don't match what they think they like, they're not going to read it. They're not going out there and seeking for themselves. They're basing everything on these almost simplified tiny little versions of things that are being spoon-fed to them, and then just disregarding or just over-consuming. There's a distinct lack of critical thinking and the ability to just do something simple, which is go and do some research yourself. Go and look into things yourself. Try and find things yourself. If you don't know where you can get a book, all it takes is a Google. That's literally it. If you don't know if you're going to enjoy the book, open it up, read the pages, read the words. If you get a few chapters in and you're like, I'm not liking this, put it down. That's okay. I said earlier on that I'm consuming less content actually physically on BookTok now. Most of my content is being consumed here on BookTube. That's partly because the content just feels stale. It either feels like it's almost quite drama fueled content that I'm getting on my algorithm, or a lot of sales, which is absolutely fine. I do TikTok shop on my main page. I do brand campaigns. I know how influencer creator financials work. However, when it comes to books, I don't really want to be sold a book, so to speak. And I actually opened up this discussion on my BookTok the other day because I came across this video where this girl was talking about overhyped books, and I love content like that. I love debunking something that's overhyped. But there was loads and loads of comments about how the book wasn't as it was sold to them. And I sat there and I thought, right, I have quite a platform. I have quite a voice. I am never trying to sell you a book. I could not care less if you read or purchase my most favourite book in the world. I don't care. I'm just making content that I enjoy, hopefully encouraging people just in general to pick up a book. I'm not here trying to sell you a book. But that's what my For You page feels like at the moment. It just feels like it's this constant drip feed all the time of book links, or read this book because, or if you like this book, you're going to love this book, but you give me no context on why I'm going to love that book. Content feels very, very stale. I feel like the platform itself has such an ease of use. All it takes is for me to pick up my phone, set it up, and post. That's it. Whereas on here, it literally takes me days, if not hours, to create content. And I have to use my brain a little bit on YouTube. Whereas on TikTok, I don't have to do that. There's such an ease of use that is brilliant because it's user friendly. It's very accessible. However, for me personally, I've noticed such a lack of creativity. And because it's so easy to pick up my phone and just press record, my brain is almost putting up obstacles now of like, well, what are you going to talk about? What are you going to do? Who actually cares? Why are you posting this? And if a video flops on there because the algorithm is so good at pushing my content out to the people that want to see it. If I get one that flops, it can literally wreck my whole day. That I don't think is a healthy mentality to have. I am a yapper. I love to talk. I love to deep dive. You've noticed I can go on for hours and hours and hours. But I'm packing so much information into a few minutes because the attention span of that 3-second scroll, I need to get people hooked within the first few seconds of a video. When that's a book review and I want to talk about the book in depth, I want to unpack why I loved it, I can't do that in less than 60 seconds. Sometimes I will post for up to 7 to 10 minutes. And that platform, although it has the ability to do it, I don't think people really enjoy that. That's not why people are there. So the scroll mentality just means that chances are the content that actually means the most to me is never going to get seen. It's not going to get pushed out there. And by trying to pack so much information into just a few minutes, it means that actually some information is getting lost, some's getting blurred. It's not fostering a healthy mentality, I think, in itself with our creativity. And it's a really big reason why I started to bullet journal this year, because I can feel my creativity absolutely coming to a crawl. I can feel my attention span coming to a crawl. When I'm reading a book, I can guarantee after a couple of pages I'll pick up my phone. I don't need that distraction. And I can sit longer on my phone just scrolling than I can reading or doing anything else that's semi-productive. Now I'm at the point I don't even remember what I've consumed. Those videos are so rapid fire, I don't remember what it is that I am consuming. I don't know what I'm taking in. It's affected my own attention span. And actually, all of the things that I've covered so far, the reactiveness, the lack of creativity, the quick to point out flaws, the self-righteous attitude, I have probably myself fallen victim to those things. I'm not sitting here saying I've never done them. I probably have. I've been on that app for 5 years. I can guarantee somewhere along the line it's affected me and I have acted in that manner. But I now have the ability to step back and actually look at some actions and some of the things that are happening and question, do I actually want to be part of that? Do I actually want to be that person? Am I prepared for my views to potentially be lower, for my engagement to be lower, because I'm not here trying to manipulate a negative scenario. I'm not here putting discourse out into the world. I actually want to think about the content that I'm putting out there. And I want to be creative. And I want people to sit and watch for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And up there with that low memory, last year I consumed 81 books, which is the most books I've ever consumed in a year. I don't remember a vast majority of those books. The quality of what I read was considerably less than the quality of the years that I've read prior. I don't know if it's because it was the first year that I had a reading goal. I don't know if it's because it's the first year that I was on BookTok and I was making book content. I don't know if it's because I felt the pressure to just consume. But what I do know is if I didn't finish a book within 2-3 days, I would beat myself up. I set a goal initially for 40 books, surpassed that by July, and then in my head I was like, well, I have to double it. And I actually had a bit of a shit fit mentally at the end of December because I'd read 81 books, not 82. And the 82nd, I actually only finished last night because I took my time with it. I absorbed it, I enjoyed it, and chances are that book's gonna stick in my brain. I just find myself just consuming and everything is so amplified and it's get as much as I can in and do as much as I can, and I'm almost living in hyperdrive all of the time, and that is the last thing that I actually wanted to do when it came to books. I've also noticed it with actual communities in itself, and I actually made a post the other day on my personal Instagram where I was like, everybody wants a viral video until they get a viral video and they realise that's not what they want. What they actually want is a community. And for me, when I first started TikTok years ago and went viral literally overnight, gained hundreds and thousands of followers within weeks, I built this community really, really fast. I was able to kind of recognize people's names. I was able to have little relationships and friendships with followers and all kinds of stuff. Now, the communities are so fast changing. I don't actually feel like I can do that. And that is the one thing that I seek. Cool, give me 1 million followers. But if I can't have a community with them, if I can't actually have a bond with some of them, I feel like that's not satisfying. So over here, cool, I might only have 1.5k followers, but I would love to have a strong build community of people that want to follow me, that enjoy my content. And we're here for a reason. Everything is just so quick all the time. This constant level of change, it stresses me out, and reading should be the least stressful thing that I do. So that's actually something that I personally want to focus on this year, is read less, consume less, do less. Stop trying to do so much. Stop trying to keep up with everything all the time, because it is near on impossible for me to do. I realise this has probably all sounded very, very negative so far. And for the most part, yes, it has been. Is it negative, or is it just calling out the shit? Is it just pointing out humanity is getting so swept up in this social media nation that we're forgetting how to be humans, in my opinion. And that is affecting BookTok, the book world, massively. I think there's such a strong inability now on BookTok to have a discussion or respect other people's opinions. Say I'm at a physical book club and there's 6 of us sitting around a table. 4 of us love the book and 2 of us absolutely hate it. I'd love to think we can all just have a discussion. We can all listen as to why the other 2 people absolutely hated it, but also why did those 4 love it? We may not agree, but we might find some common ground somewhere. We can breed a very healthy, very adult discussion on that book. That is what BookTok is there for. That is what BookTube is there for. That is what Bookstagram is there for. The ability to do that has failed. It has gone. You've got people posting reviews where they love a book, they adore a book. It's changed their world, it's changed their life. It might have introduced them to reading. Someone will come in and absolutely poo-poo all over that book in the comments. Well, I hated it because, or it's the worst writing because. That's fine. You're allowed your opinion. Absolutely, but there is a time and there is a place, and it is not shitting on somebody else's parade. It's the same as if I make a negative review, because I actually like talking about the things that I don't like. I think that's a good thing, because the reason that I may not like it, you may love it for. But I can make a negative review. Someone will come in the comments and say, it's my favourite book of all time. I love that. Do you know what my response will be? I love that for you. I love that for you. I love that you enjoyed it, that you got something out of it that I didn't. That is special. But there is such a distinct inability to just have a basic discussion, to have some compassion and some understanding. But I've rambled on long enough about the things that perhaps I haven't found so good. And instead, let's talk about some positives, because I can't lie, in the last year I found some incredible friends over on BookTok. Grace is Book Nook, the other book Grace. I love that woman. She is hilarious. She is supportive. She will drop me a message. It's just like, mate, have a good day today. How are you doing? We will talk in depth. Nobody can ever see our WhatsApp thread because, trust me, it's deep. But she is brilliant, and she puts out such good content. She puts out full reviews. She talks deeply about books. She just does herself and doesn't worry, doesn't get caught up. And I love her for that. And this year she's become a very solid friend. You've also got Bookish Dad Reads, Tyrone, who is absolutely incredible. He is actually on here, so I'm going to try and tag him. But that man has helped me so much. He's given me so much of his time. We've had some proper deep chats. He is just generally lovely. He's also disgustingly funny. And he talks so openly about mental health, about why books have helped him's mental health. He just is a sound human. I'm actually in a group chat with both of them, and sometimes my wife hears it and she's like, I'm sorry, what did I just listen to? It's great. I've made connections with publishers. This year I've worked with Bloomsbury, HarperCollins, Hachette, like so many publishers. I went to my first bookish event. That was amazing. I love that. Bloomsbury, thank you so much. I'd love to come to another one if there's ever another one. I love the fact that it's given accessible links into publishing houses, into the side of the book world that as a reader I wouldn't necessarily have access to. Me personally, I don't really care about PR mail because I'm probably not going to read it on time. I don't really care about ARCs and things like that because, again, I'm not going to read them on time. But I love being introduced to new books, new authors, new publishing houses, old publishing houses. Just making those connections has been wonderful, and that's something that I've massively positively taken. I've also had the motivation to finish my own book, which is currently sitting with a publishing house. I can't tell you who. They may not publish it, they may not want it, but they actually did ask me for it. So they've got it. It's the top 5. I've not told anyone that yet. I'm so excited. But you watch, they'll probably come back and be like, Grace, this is a load of drivel, we don't want it. But nonetheless, I finished my first draft of my book, and that was after a lot of stop-starting, a lot of imposter syndrome, writing 40,000 words, and then restarting from scratch because I realised it needed to be in first person, not third person. I actually finished it, and that was because of those little videos that I'd go on and do. And I suppose this is where it's good for ease of use. I'd go on, make a short video about how I've written this chapter or I've got this far, and that was a motivation level, and then my followers were excited about it. That was wonderful. That's been incredible. And so you never know, 2020, I wouldn't say 2025 because it'll be too soon, 2026 I might end up being a published author, and I will have BookTok to thank for that. I can't take that away. At the same time, I've been introduced to some great books. Some of my favourite books of last year I probably wouldn't have discovered without BookTok. At the start of my BookTok journey, I had a very varied For You page. Now, not so much. But I, again, have some incredible books on my shelf just because of that app. And there's no denying that there is a lot of inspirational and educational content on there. Sometimes it might be a little bit hard to find. Sometimes the algorithm is just going to chuck you shit, basically. And I know some people say the TikTok's algorithm is fine-tuned and it will give you what you want to see, and that the YouTube algorithm, you have to search for it. I find the opposite. My YouTube algorithm will give me all the content that I want, that I enjoy, that I can sit and watch for ages. I've discovered some incredible content on here. But BookTok now, it's almost like restrictive in my content, and even when I try and search for it, I'm just getting the same shit up all the time and I'm bored of it. There's a lot of educational and inspirational content on there without a doubt, like Dr. Susie Edge, love her content. AJ West, who's one of my favourite authors of last year, love his educational content. It's incredible. I think I just prefer the mentality and the longevity of BookTube. I feel like I've gone on for a very, very long time. I feel like I've said a lot. I hope that I've kind of rounded this video off with, yes, there is positivity, 100%, but we have to be honest about the negative mentalities that are growing due to TikTok and what's happening on there. I have committed myself in 2025 to make 12 BookTok videos, which is one a month. And I really hope that you guys enjoy watching them. I hope that you enjoy being here. I was trying to do one a week and it was just too many. It's too much. The editing side, by the time I've edited this, it'll probably be 3 weeks down the line because I'm just not very good at it. Like, I beat myself up a little bit that I can't do these nice, aesthetic, well edited videos, but you're just going to get the raw and real with me, and that is just the way it is. So although this is very, very talky and this isn't necessarily about books, it's a subject that I just wanted to get out of the way. It's a subject that I just wanted to come on and be honest about and unload with you guys about. And I hope that you have taken something from it. I hope my application to BookTube, YouTube is accepted. And in the meantime, I will see you most probably next month, unless I have something I desperately feel like I want to come and talk about. And part of me does want to do a 2024 wrap up and talk about my favourite books of the year. before January's out, but that's 2 videos this month. We will see. Anyway, it's nice to be back. I'll see you soon.